it's April from April's Home. Happy Groundhog Day. Thought I would share with you some of the traditions that we do around here for Groundhog Day. The first thing I've done here is something new. I've set up a table centerpiece here for Groundhog Day. Just some pretty spring tulips because it is early spring. It's not quite spring yet. It's still winter, of course, but we're starting to see signs of spring. And then I've got a little hollowed out log here that I got from a crafter, and a cute little groundhog figure here. This is from Safari Toys. I think it's so cute. I just was really happy when I saw that they had a little groundhog. And then I've got some candles out. I will be rolling some beeswax candles today and talking a little bit about Candlemas, which is also a day that is celebrated on Groundhog Day. So we've got our little groundhog centerpiece. Also got a couple of books here that I've set out. My grandson's coming over tomorrow, so I will read him Groundhog Day, and I will read him Gretchen Groundhog, It's Your Day. These are books that I've had since my kids were little. They're really, really cute books about Groundhog Day. This one's by Gail Gibbons, and this one, Abby Levine. So just some cute little books there. Then also I have two little stuffed animals here. This is a little stuffed groundhog I found years ago. And then also this little funny looking groundhog here. I made it Build-A-Bear years ago. So a cute little Build-A-Bear here. So I will have these little groundhog dolls out also for my grandson to play with. And we'll be making some groundhog cookies and having some fun things like that. So I thought I would share with you some of the things that we're doing for Groundhog Day. And I'm going to start by rolling some beeswax candles and talking a little bit about that. I have a fun little beeswax candle making kit here that I bought at Amazon. I will go ahead and link below my affiliate link for the beeswax candle making kit that I bought at Amazon, if I can find the same one that I got or a similar one. And I'm going to be making some beeswax candles. I've got some really cute little old-fashioned candle holders here, also from Amazon, that I thought would be a nice addition to my table centerpiece. So let's go ahead and open up our candle kit here. This has a bunch of beeswax sheets here. You can also buy this in colors, but I decided to go with just the natural colored beeswax here. Just like this, some nice just beeswax colored beeswax. Thought it was really pretty. Oh, and it smells really, really nice. And we have some little wicks here. And I've got some scissors to trim the wick to the right size for the candle. So I'm just going to measure out a little bit of this wick here. And we'll do it long ways like this. So I'm going to leave a pretty generous wick here, and I'll trim that at the end. Just like so. And I'll just trim this end here, also leaving it overhanging just a little bit. And then when I'm working with beeswax, I do like to put my hands on it a little bit, let it kind of warm up. It bends a little easier if it's just kind of warmed up to your body temperature. Just use your hands a little bit, and as you're touching it, just kind of hold it. If it seems a little stiff, I'm going to go ahead and remove this paper from the bottom. Don't want to roll that in the candle. That would not be good. And you just go like this. It's a very, very simple craft. This is something we did with our children when they were little. We also purchased some candle decorating wax. It's a really thin beeswax. We had little punches that you could use to create little designs like heart shapes or flower shapes, and then it adheres to the beeswax, because beeswax, you can just stick beeswax together with just a little bit of warmth. So there we have our first little rolled edge. I'm just going to keep rolling. I like to keep this a fairly tight roll. I don't want it to be really loose. I think it'll burn nicer that way. And I'm working on this surface, and I'm fine with this getting a little beeswax on it. I will just polish it off later. But if you wanted to protect your surface, you could just put down a little covering of some sort. So I'm just going to keep rolling, just like so. We'll roll it up, and I'm also going to be keeping an eye on the width here. I don't want it to get whiter than that. so it will fit in my candle. I also want to make sure I'm keeping it rolled evenly. That can be kind of tricky sometimes. The fun thing about this beeswax is you can make these short too. You just cut this. This beeswax cuts very easily with just standard scissors. So you can make little short candles. You could make little votives here, like these candles here. These little candles here were a gift from my daughter for Christmas. They are also beeswax and they are cinnamon scented and they smell so wonderful. They make my dining room smell really wonderful. So I thought I'd include those in my display as well. A little cute grouping of cinnamon beeswax candles. Very pretty. So why am I making candles on Groundhog Day? That is because it is also Candlemas. Candlemas is largely a liturgical celebration. Not a lot of evangelical churches celebrate that, but I've always enjoyed celebrating Candlemas. I think it's a really neat holiday. It lands also on Groundhog Day, February 2nd. February 2nd marks 40 days after Christmas, which I think is really, really neat. It's been 40 days since Christmas, and that is the day because Mary, Jesus' mother, was a Jewish. She would be following Mosaic law. So that would have been the day that a firstborn son was brought to be dedicated to the Lord. So Mary would have been bringing Jesus to dedicate him. So this story can be found in Luke 2, verse 22 and 23. Also in Luke 2, 25 through 32, you can read about Simeon when he met Jesus. And it had been revealed to Simeon that he would not die until he had seen the Lord's Messiah. And so he went to the temple courts and the parents brought in the child Jesus. So then Simeon took him in his arms and praised God. So Simeon was so excited to get to see baby Jesus, the Messiah, and that he would be a light to the world, which I think is so wonderful. So that's where the candle tradition comes in. Jesus is a light to the world, and this candle can represent that light. You can look at this candle when you're burning it and think of that wonderful story in Luke chapter 2, which I think is really neat. I love reading stories about that time. I think that this is really close to this size here of this. It might even be a little bit too big. So I'm going to roll it back a little bit and kind of give it a squeeze. But yes, so that is why I'm making candles, and me and my husband will read that verse together and talk about that a little bit. I just think that that's really interesting. I love following along things like that. So you can see how easy this just trims right up. It just cuts. It almost cuts easier than paper. It's just very, very easy to cut there. And then again, you just want to warm that up and kind of press it into the side. I kind of made that a little bit too squishy down there at the end, but that's okay. And there's our little Candlemas candle, which I think is really neat. Beeswax candle rolling is something that I just love to do. If you hear rain hitting on my window, looks like the rain finally arrived. We were supposed to have today. There we go. Oh, that's perfect. So there's my little candle. Absolutely perfect. And it looks like I'll be able to roll another one with this one here. So I'm just going to measure out some more wicking and start rolling from this edge. This edge you can see is a little bit wonky from me cutting it not perfectly straight, but that's okay. It's going to be the center, so it's all right. So you can roll little thin ones of these candles or thicker ones. You can make big pillar candles. You just keep adding sheets on to this candle, to the candle wax. So you can roll any size really that you want for your candle holders. It's a really very fun and easy craft. This beeswax scent is so relaxing. This is also a really good fall time craft. And this is something I may order. I ordered the plain beeswax color because I thought it would just go year round. And they do also sell it in colors, and they sell it oftentimes also in harvest colors. And I thought that would be wonderful, a wonderful craft for the fall time. But anyway, yes, so there are traditions on Groundhog Day that is Candlemas traditions as well. They're all sort of early spring celebrations, or like the welcoming of spring. the return of the longer days, the light. So that's why Jesus is associated with that, the light and the lighter days that we're having. Which I think is so wonderful to follow the seasons like that and see that. It's fun for the kids too to celebrate different seasons. I always did that with my children. We followed different traditions. We learned about different celebrations around the world and always did that and always had a lot of fun with that. And I like to continue on that tradition with my grandchildren and just here in my home. So there we got a second one out of that. This one actually might be a little bit big for this. So I'm going to trim off one little bit of this. See if I can get it a little bit better size. And then again, press that down just so it adheres together. And I'll light these too towards the end of that. In addition to the groundhog traditions where we wait for Punxsutawney Phil's weather prediction to see if he sees his shadow. There we go, another candle. And you can save this too. This little size here would be perfect for a little tea light. So you would just, again, add strips on until you got the width that you wanted. But I'm going to go ahead and set that to the side for now. We have our 2 centerpiece candles, and I have a lot of wonderful wax left over to make candles, to make some more candles. I think I'll work on some more. You can go to groundhog.org to watch Punxsutawney Phil come out of his little burrow and see if he sees his shadow. Of course, if he sees his shadow, he is frightened back into his little home, and there will be 6 more weeks of winter. That's just a little fun tradition. And we also have here our local zoo. We'll use one of our local animals at the zoo to do the same sort of predicting. This year they used a beaver. In years past, they've used little hedgehogs at the zoo. Very, very cute. I always watch them on the zoo's website that they post. And of course, I always watch Punxsutawney Phil and his little prediction every year. It's really neat. Also with Candlemas, there's an old poem that goes with this day. And the poem says, "If Candlemas Day be fair and bright, winter will take another flight. If Candlemas Day be cloud and rain, winter is gone and will not come again." So the whole point is, just like if the groundhog here sees his shadow, means it's a sunny day. And if it's a sunny day on February 2nd, the tradition is that we will have 6 more weeks of winter. Now, right now, it is a pretty good rainstorm outside. It's actually really cool looking out my dining room window. Very gray and very rainy. But this morning, it was bright and sunny. It was really beautiful. I looked out the window and I saw the sunshine and I said, uh-oh, 6 more weeks of winter it looks like. Which is okay because we have only had here one teeny tiny, very short snow day. And we all want at least one more little snow day. I think it would be fun to get to see a little bit more snow before spring starts. However, I am getting all of my seeds ready and making my garden plans and getting my lists ready for spring cleaning because spring is definitely on the way, and you will see that in future videos. I think that that's a pretty good amount. Let me measure this out real quick. Yeah, that's about right. So we will trim this and we have another candle. But yes, so February 2nd is a very fun, sort of early spring, late winter, little simple one-day holiday. I will be making groundhog-shaped cookies here in a minute when I'm done with my candles. I am not filming the recipe for that because I'm trying out a new cutout recipe, but I will also link that recipe below and show you the cookies. I chose a cinnamon cookie today to make a cinnamon cutout cookie. In years past, I've just made nice sugar cookies and added some nice frosting. I have a wonderful little groundhog cookie cutter that I'll show you here in a minute. And it's just really cute. I've been using it for years since my kids were young. So just some fun things. It's so fun in this time of year in Oregon. We have a lot of really gray, rainy days this time of year. And I think it's really fun that 40 days after Christmas, we have a little teeny tiny holiday here before Valentine's Day. I love Valentine's Day as well, and I'll be sharing our Valentine decorations here coming up really soon. I'm going to put some final touches on our Valentine decor. And of course, when Groundhog Day is over, I will change my table centerpiece to a Valentine centerpiece. But I just love recognizing this cute little holiday, Groundhog Day and Candlemas Day. And again, these candles are just a nice reminder of Jesus's light to the world that we saw when he was born on Christmas. It just kind of continues that. Also once read a blog years ago, and it said while you're doing house chores to light a candle, usually like a scented candle or something, just so the house smells nice. And every time you pass by it and you see that candle flame, it's a nice reminder to say a prayer for your family or say a prayer for something you're thinking of. So I also love to do that whenever I see candles going in my home. So just some more fun traditions like that. So here now I have 4 candles, and I think these 2, I'm going to go find some ribbon now in some pretty red colors and tie them together for a nice little, to have these sitting there ready to go when my next candles are all burned down, and then I'll have 2 more ready to go. So what I'm going to do is go and find that ribbon, and I'll light these candles and show you what they look like, and then we'll get on with our baking. So here's my box of string here. I think those would maybe be cute, and this would be cute. I love the little touches of a red. Oh, that's cute too, for Valentine's Day coming up. Got some pink in there as well, but I think I'll go with this. I like the design of this color here, and that way too, could even use this for a patriotic decoration. Just switch out some of the any pinks with like a blue star or a red star or something like that. I'm just going to press this down a little bit more, make sure it's adhered, and I think I'll just tie these together. Just a very, very fun and easy, really relaxing craft because it is not difficult in any way. And the beeswax smells wonderful. My hands have beeswax on them. They feel really nice and soft with the beeswax. Let's see here. Trim that. Just tie them up. Like so. That is really pretty. We've got our little craft there ready to go. I've collected so many spools of different craft supplies over the years. It's nice to have a bin of just random things like that to be able to pull from whenever you're crafting. So there we go. We have a couple of candles here for our day. We have a ton of beautiful wax here left over. I will definitely be making more candles. And like I said, I will go ahead and light these in a little while. But now I think I'm going to go ahead and get started with some baking and bake up my Groundhog Day cookies. So you can see our stormy day. It looks like the groundhog was correct. More winter is on its way. It was sunny this morning, but it is coming down in a big hailstorm right now. I think hailstorms are always so impressive. Windy and hailing. You can see that hail just coming down. And it is just coming down in sheets. Okay, so I have my dough. It has been chilled. Again, this is a new recipe, so I'm going to be trying this out today, and I'll leave the link for the recipe down below and let you know what I think of it. This is a cinnamon rollout dough, sort of like a sugar cookie, but a cinnamony one. So I've got that. I've got my floured surface here, and here is my little groundhog cookie cutter that I have had for years. I think it's so cute. Makes just a cute little tiny cookie of a little groundhog. I've got my rolling pin ready to go and some extra flour to roll out this dough here. I've also lined a baking sheet with parchment paper, and I have my oven heating up to 350. So I'm just going to lay that down in the flour. Sometimes I might split the dough in half. This looks like a relatively small batch of dough here. Looks like about half the amount of dough I would normally make up for, like, say, a holiday, a bigger holiday. But this will be just enough to share with my grandson and my children, and me. I'm going to make up little plates for everybody to take home. I'm going to flour my rolling pin here. This is a new rolling pin. I needed a new one at Christmas time, and then I found a really cute one at Hobby Lobby. This is a Ray Dunn one. It says roll here, but I really liked the shape of this. So I'm just going to roll it out here about 1/4 of an inch thick, I would say. Just like any standard roll-out cookie. Normally this would be a little bit easier to roll out, but the camera is right here, so I'm not sort of face on this, but you get the idea. This dough looks really nice and smells really nice. Has a nice cinnamony scent. Thought that would be nice because, of course, a groundhog is a little brown furred creature. In the past, I've made this cookie cutter with just like regular sugar cookie dough, which is also very good. And I've frosted it with like a maple frosting, a maple flavored frosting glaze. And that looked really cute too. In other years, I've used bright spring colors, like spring green and pink and yellow. This year I thought I would do a cinnamon cookie with a white glaze and a little currant for the eye. So there we go. We have it. This side's a little thicker, so I'll roll that out once I roll this half out. But I thought I would cut a cookie and show you. So there's our first one. I'll get that on the cookie sheet. Just brush off the flour if you get excessive flour on your cookies. We'll just brush right off. I don't believe these cookies will spread very far, so I should be able to get about a dozen per sheet. So I just think that this is a fun tradition. Years ago, I just spotted a groundhog cookie cutter when I was browsing at Amazon, and I thought that that would be just perfect. A fun way to celebrate Groundhog Day, making cookies. I'll be really curious how this dough turns out. It'd be neat to have another dough recipe that I like. It'd be neat to have one that is a little bit different flavor too than just your standard regular cookie. It actually looks more like 9 will fit. I've got them kind of spaced out on my baking pan here. I'll show you in just a minute. I gotta cut out a couple more here. So there they are, ready to go in. It looks like he slid over there. But there we have our first 9 to go in the oven. So I'm going to go ahead and get these baked up, and I'll come back to show you what they look like when they're ready to be frosted. I've got all of the cookies baked up, and I'm going to let them cool here now on the cooling racks for a little while till they're nice and cool. Then I'm going to mix up just a very simple glaze with a little bit of powdered sugar, a few drops of milk to get it to a glaze consistency, and a little bit of vanilla extract. Then I'll just glaze the top of these and add a little currant for the eye. So I'll come back and show you what these look like when they're being decorated. Okay, so my cookies are cooled enough to frost, and I've mixed up a quick batch here of just some simple glaze with powdered sugar, milk, and vanilla extract. Got a little bowl here of tiny little currants to use as the eye. So I always think currants make a really good little eye for little gingerbread cookies or cutouts like this. I'm just going to take a cookie here and just it's kind of a messy process because it's a glaze rather than a frosting. So it's just kind of flow over the top of the cookie. I'll use the knife to kind of help it go along where it needs to. And it will drip on the other cookies. That's okay, since they'll all be glazed as well. Once you do glaze them though and they start to harden up, you really don't want the other glaze dripping on it or it won't look quite as nice. But that's the idea there. So I'm going to go ahead and get these all glazed with their little eyes on, and then I'll come back and show you what they look like. After they're glazed, they do have to set up for a little bit as well for the glaze to harden up. so they're not just a big drippy bunch of frosting here. So I like to let those sit on the cooling racks. Kind of drips through to the bottom. If you don't want to clean up the counter, you can put some wax paper under here, but the frosting does wipe up really easily with just a warm wet washcloth, so I usually don't mind if it drips through the cooling rack onto my counter. It's a very easy thing to clean up. So I'm going to go ahead and get these all glazed up and decorated with their little currant eyes, and I'll come back and show you what they look like when the glaze is all set up and the cookies are ready to serve. The frosting has set up now, and I'm going to go ahead and get these on a serving tray and let you know what I think of this new recipe. So we are all ready for Groundhog Day and Candlemas. I've got my beeswax candles lit here, ready to go. They turned out really nice. They smell wonderful. They were so easy and fun to make. Definitely a fun thing to do for Groundhog Day and Candlemas. And here are my cookies. I've set them out on a little wood round here. I thought that looked nice since everything here is kind of like woodlandy. So those are my Groundhog Day cookies. And again, I'll leave the recipe that I used for these cutouts in the description box below. And now I have one to enjoy here as well. So I can give these a try. I've got some nice tea sitting out here ready to go. Let's see what they taste like. Okay. These cookies turned out really good. They're very interesting. I would have definitely added more cinnamon next time I make this recipe, which I do think I will use this recipe again. It mixed up very easily and has a really unique taste. The recipe required 3 egg yolks, which I thought was really interesting. You can definitely taste the egg yolk, the component of the egg yolk in these cookies, which just provides a nice, rich, delicious flavor. It did call for 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, and I think I would probably add an additional one, a third one, because they are very mildly cinnamony. The whole house smelled wonderful and cinnamony, but I do think they need just a pinch more cinnamon. Maybe half a teaspoon or another teaspoon just to punch up that cinnamon flavor. But otherwise, I really love them. The simple glaze is all you need on these. You could also just do a little outline, a piped outline if you wanted to do that. So yeah, very fun little Groundhog Day cookies. I definitely enjoyed making those. They turned out really cute. I'm excited to share those with my grandson and my kids later on. And then, of course, we have our candles here. And, of course, our little groundhog there. So it looks like we will have 6 more weeks of winter, according to Punxsutawney Phil. And that's okay. We will have a little bit more time for planting our garden. Time for lots of warm tea and reading by the fire while the winter finishes up. I'll be back next week to share how we have decorated our home for Valentine's Day and all of the fun things that we're going to be doing for Valentine's Day. I hope you enjoyed taking a look at our Candlemas and Groundhog Day traditions. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. Hit subscribe for more videos from April's Home. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Goodbye.